Uh, Welcome to the Monday call. We'll kind of do a Q&A today. Chris, you got a question? He already raising his hand. He's saying what's up. He's waving. That's waving low. Look at him.
I'm just saying what's up. Just saying what's up.
Man, all right. Anybody got any questions? Bob, you got a question? Bob said he got a 5K deal in his first month using Hive. Look at that. Mr.
Can he explain how he did it?
Bob Kerr. Let's see if he's there to answer. Hey Bob, can you talk? We'll come back to him. Mr. Jarrell Keys, go ahead and answer. What's your question, sir?
Thank you for saying my name right now. I appreciate you, buddy.
No problem.
I have multiple questions actually.
Shoot.
So I'm paying for HiveMind, right? And I see all that you all have available in order for us great entrepreneurs to be successful and be great. My first month using HiveMind, just using the text messaging service alone, I closed I think about $10,000 to $15,000 worth of deals. So right now I'm looking at for the month of February, since using January, we did about 13. February, we're about 27 right now. So I'm trying to just figure out this more about the automation portion of it, because I want to make things a little bit more automated. Like, I know once you add opportunities like how I have it set up to where if I made an offer or whatever, I want to be able to follow up with these people. I want to be able to follow up with people without having to go manually do that. Is there a way to automate that stuff?
Yes. So it can only be automated based off of responses. So we can use keywords based off of them replying in a certain campaign to create auto responses. So if they say yes, no, if they say wrong address, wrong number, you can create automations around that to respond. That way you're responding to less people directly and typing out that message. You can also
Got you. So I've done the triggers. Like, is that what you're talking about? Like doing triggers?
Yeah, trigger or workflow, same thing.
So that's the other thing. The workflow I don't know how to use. I was trying to figure it out, but it's confusing the hell out of me.
So I'm glad you asked. So there's actually we're releasing training. The training is being released tonight. We released the demo. After we get off this call, I'm recording a podcast and then I'm going to release all the videos. So they should be released tonight. If you check tonight or tomorrow morning, all the training videos will be out on YouTube. We'll also be releasing like an internal course platform too to all the users, and you'll receive that via text or email tomorrow.
Okay.
So keep look out for that.
That works. That works. Okay, so I'll look out for that. The other thing is the email automation. Can you explain that? Like, what is that like? Because I've never done any email blast or anything. Do you have to pay for that? Is there a way, or like what is that like?
So emails is built through workflows or triggers as well. So you can create an email flow if you're outbound or add it to a campaign. It's really up to you. We use emails in a lot of different ways, and it's just creating the system and automation around it in your campaign or a campaign directly specified towards emails.
Okay. So there's a way that I could send out email blast. Like, for example, my brother, he owns a car dealership. Yep. And he also owns a loan servicing thing, right? So what he does is he contacts all of the dealers, not by cold calling or by text messaging. He gets all of their emails and he sends out emails multiple times that doesn't go to their spam, goes directly to their inbox. And then from there, once they click on their email, goes to his website or wherever the case may be, they fill out a form. And then it kind of creates like it goes from a cold lead to a warm lead. Is that what the email marketing is like? That's what I'm asking. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. You can definitely build that out, especially for the car business. So once you click the emails, you can just build out the cold email flow and then just rotate it out. So we built out an email campaign for us. And if anybody got in it, you've probably seen it, but it's like 15 emails long, and we spaced it out by every day. It's like
Uh-huh.
15 emails, so it goes email, wait a day, email, wait a day, email, wait a day, email, wait a day, and like in the fourth day it says email, wait 2 days, email, wait 2 days, email, wait 2 days, and then email, wait 3 days, and it's like a 30 to 40 day email campaign that just rotates over and over again.
Okay, so what happens after that 40-day thing?
Rotates right back into the beginning again.
Oh.
So it's
So
like
basically,
I have unlimited emails that rotates every 30 days.
got you. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so from there, after like, so if they actually respond to your email, does another automatic message go out, or what's the case there?
You can set up an automation around that to notify you when somebody responds, and it can kick them off of the campaign 100%.
Got you. Okay, so there, I may need like a whole lot of training. What it sounds like, because there's clearly I'm missing out on money in certain areas where I could be making money.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity.
Okay. So and the training on the email automation, is that there as well, or is that the same thing as the SMS workflow?
It's being released tonight.
Okay. Okay. Now, and the last thing, and then I guess I'll move on, let other people who have questions ask. I saw that I saw a tab for Deal Machine. Was Deal Machine just added?
Yes, Deal Machine has been added. It's integration through Zapier. We'll be coming out with videos for that pretty soon, but that won't come out with the training tonight, but it'll probably come out very soon with Deal Machine.
Okay, so
you can log in
I
through
won't.
the sidebar.
So I won't have to export my data anymore.
You'll still need to export it. You just won't be able to. You don't have to switch panels or switch views.
Got you.
Once it's connected properly, you can call on the fly and everything.
Got you. Okay. I guess I'll wait for that training so that way I can figure out what all I can actually do.
I gotcha. Today's a Q&A. Mr. Al Nicoletti's in the house. We got a lot of people here today. Some new faces. I appreciate everybody coming out today. This is kind of open Q&A. So anybody want to ask a question? This is your time to ask your questions to get answers directly.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Moses.
Yeah, what training is tonight?
It's a Q&A.
Okay.
It's a Q&A.
All right, this is Sheik. I got one.
Go ahead, Sheik.
All right, so I've been texting and calling a bit, and I've always been hesitant about it. So I started digging a bit more about a bit more into the TCPA rules and all of that.
Yep.
So Texas is one of the 5 states that does not allow any form of texting or cold calling, period. It doesn't matter even if you dial the phone manually. So I was wondering, how do you guys get around this, or are you just ignoring it?
It's kind of a 2-part answer. So TCPA guidelines qualify to people that are selling something. We're not selling anything.
No, that's not the case. If you look at the description of it, it says for financial gain to either party. It doesn't say anything about selling or buying or anything like that. It talks about economic gain, actually, is the word. So
Okay.
I've heard that phrase used by a lot of people saying, we're not selling, we're buying. And I'm not sure who came up with that way back when, but I think we fall into this category right in the middle of it, and we are just mostly ignoring it for the most part. I think that's what's happening across the board until I know one guy right now is getting sued. Big wholesaler here in Dallas is getting sued right now. I don't know where it's and how it's, what's the results of it. But yeah, this is my concern, a big concern of mine. I don't want to build my business on something that I can do for 2 months or 3 months and then all hell breaks loose, or I'm just waiting for someone to sue me down the line. So
there's ways to go around that. You can make inbound leads where they call you. Sure. Versus cold outbound. So you can do PPC, direct mail, postcard, that's direct mail, PPC, direct mail, bandit signs, and yeah, you can do other forms of marketing. I do agree some people are ignoring it. I this is not financial advice, but people can do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's looking more and more to me that we're going back 360 to the old ways. Direct mail is direct mail. I mean, it's safe. It's much quicker, easier to contact someone with a text or a phone call, and that's been rampant for the past, I don't know, 3-5 years. But I think Florida right now, Florida is even worse. You can't even call a landline in Florida. You can't call any phone number without prior consent in Florida. Landline, cell phone, no, nothing at all. If you don't have that person's prior consent, you cannot call them or contact them, period. Ringless voicemail, that's even worse. That's so, I mean, just heads up for you guys who are doing this type of marketing. A lot of people are hearing a lot of things and they're just going ahead and doing things because everyone else is doing it. And so I choose not to work that way. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're concerned about that, I would do more inbound marketing where they have to opt into some type of communication, like PPC. But this is my opinion. I mean, people can do what they want. It doesn't really matter to me how people get the leads or the deals. The way I see it is that there's millions of people out there, and yes, there's opportunity, you could get sued, but you're rolling the dice. If you're a gambler and want to roll the dice, then you might know the consequences coming down the line. But I mean, there's so many people texting and continue to text that I wouldn't be, me personally, I wouldn't be afraid to text them.
Yeah, understood. I was just wondering.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, can you talk now? Hey, can you kind of go over that deal? Your first month in Hive?
Hey, there we go. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. So yeah, I'll definitely talk about that deal in a second here. I want to go back to what Sheik was saying there. Okay, so it's no ringless voicemail, no texting in Texas or Florida. Is that correct?
I've been texting in Florida and I'm doing wonderful. So.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not denying that you wouldn't be doing, you're not doing well. I'm just saying that it's not legal. Texas, there are 5 states. There are 5 what's called a wireless states or no wireless states or something like that. Arizona, Louisiana, New Jersey, Texas, and Wyoming. You cannot text to a cell phone without prior written consent. To these numbers, period. You can't solicit anything. No ringless voicemail, no cold call, no text to a cell number. And you also have to run all numbers through the DNC. So the only numbers you're left with are landlines that are not on the DLC, which are very few and far between nowadays. And so it's only a matter of time because before the rest of the states join. These states are joining one after the other, right? The fine is up to $500 to $1,500 per call or text. So it can add up. At least in these 5 states, they still allow landline. In Florida, in addition to what I just said, even landlines. Even you can't call or you can't call a landline unless you had prior written opt-in from them. Across the board in other states, you also still have to go through do not call list, and your software, if you're using a software, has to have human intervention when you're clicking and texting. If you just broadcast, I mean, I don't want to say which is good or which is bad, but if you have a system that just automatically texts people without your intervention, it's considered some AI, I forget what they call it, an automatic telephone system, ATDS. It's called an ATDS, and automatic telephone dialing system. And that's a no-no. But once you have some way of human intervention, if you click on a button or something like that, then that's all works well. But like I said, in these handful of states, it's against the law. I'm not going to say it's a problem. Apparently not, because lots of people are texting and calling. And you will find, most of these software places that offers lots of dialing and all of that. I mean, they will tell you that they're TCP compliant, but the onus is on you, the responsibility is on you, right? I mean, you can't go tell the judge, hey, that guy told me his stuff is compliant.
Hey,
And they
Sheik,
have,
so
yeah.
question to you actually. What do you think about then how people approach it with like an intro message? You have another intro message after that where you're like talking to them like I'm talking to you. And then, you know, when the conversation is initiated, then you kind of bring in that. Like I won't mention anything about buying, selling, offering, or anything like that.
How did you make the initial contact?
Well, by texting him, just like I would text you, right?
Yeah, that's it. No, the initial contact. If you make an initial contact without them approving you first, without them opting in, like you put your number out someplace in an advertisement and they opt in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? This hits him. Then that's why we have these loopholes, not loopholes, but things to make it easier as far as offering the opt out, right? And having these great, you know, these little things that get us around. That's probably what gets us through because we have these intro, we start a conversation, we don't say these key words, we stay in line with certain things, and we offer opt out. So we kind of like, I guess that's where the
No, it
neutral
doesn't get you
ground.
in. It just doesn't, you just haven't faced the lawsuit yet. It doesn't get you in.
Yeah.
I mean, if some guy runs on the street and kills someone on the street and he gets away with it, it doesn't make it legal, right? It doesn't make it right. It just he didn't get caught. All we're doing is we haven't gotten caught.
Yeah, we had, this is Carl. I'm part of the Collective Genius. It's like a real expensive high-end mastermind group, and they brought a guy on, an attorney that was he used to prosecute people for this stuff in Florida. I can't remember his name, and he also defends people now. And I wish I'd have paid a little bit better attention, but we do need to be worried because here's one of the things that they can do. It's one of the things that can actually pierce your corporate veil and go after you personally. Okay. That was one of the things I remember that scared the ever living shit out of me. He also said we have to get worried about is the class action, is when they put it together as a class action. And another thing I remember is they can go back up to 4 years and subpoena all your records. And so you have to be worried about that. And another thing, though, that was positive was he says, even if you make a mistake and call, do not call once, they pretty much will let that go. But after that, it's $500, you know, per time per thing. And then if they do a class action, he also said it's going to be one of the bigger things coming that, you know, all these damn attorneys like Al Nicoletti, I'm just kidding, I'm just joking, no, Al's there, but there's going to be a race to have certify more class action lawsuits. So I can't remember all of it. The gist was we need to be worried, we need to be careful, but there are things you can do to protect yourself. So I think in my opinion, it'd be good to, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like, he prosecuted people for the state of Florida for years, and now he defends them. But it was a lot of great information. I'll go back and watch that again to see if I can write up some information on it. But I think it's something we all need to be cognizant of. We need to be careful, and I'm already got one lawsuit coming already from our cold calling. So,
Yep. Yeah, people are
Good
getting
luck on
wise up
that.
to it too. And you know, when folks cold call me, and I try to figure out, you know, get some information from them, they quickly abandon the call because they know you're trying to fish for information to do something. And I'm just curious to see what they would do. And they just abandon the call and run because they may or may not know, you know, the ramifications of it. All I'm saying is we're a small-time operation, right? We don't have millions of dollars to throw at lawsuits like what I mean. Facebook got a huge lawsuit. What was it? A bunch of companies. I was looking at like 5 or 6 of these huge companies, millions of dollars. Of course, they're big companies, but nevertheless, they're going to look to make examples out of a few folks. You know, and hopefully we're not one of them.
but another thing, I don't mind if I have to budget 20 to 50,000 a year to pay people off. I worry more about the class action stuff, but put it in my budget. I'm going to have to, settle lawsuits. That's part of what I'm going to do. But I'll look more into it to get. I'll go back and watch the whole presentation. But I do think we need to be careful and concerned. A lot of people, it's going to be extortion. You pay them $500, $1,000, they go away.
Hey, that was a good question that Junior asked.
Because I get 3 calls today from phone companies wanting me to go in and get new 5G service that I don't have accounts with and I don't talk with. And they just cold call me blindly on the cell phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm confused.
Oh, it doesn't make, believe me, when that happens, the first thing that someone will say is, well, these big companies do it, so it must be okay. That's not the case. These big companies, lots of them are going through lawsuits right now. They honest, like I said, the responsibility is on you. If you are doing this type of thing, you need to read up on the TCPA. There's a ton of stuff on the internet. Just weed through. You have to weed through a whole lot of stuff. The dnc.com is a company that offers list scrubbing, and they have some good articles on their website about this type of thing as well. Some of it is kind of misleading too, but yeah, don't mean to scare anybody. I'm just saying, be aware of this thing. Don't ignore it. Lots of people are just ignoring it.
So
No, man, I think that's great to talk about because it's real. It's just, I mean, that's a great topic. And we've had this topic in a couple different groups and mentorships that I'm in. And it's important to pay attention to, right? Because the thing is that there's always going to be, there's mass scale marketing companies out there like, cold call centers, the whole nine, they're still rocking, right? You can do it as long as you stay compliant. And I've been looking into this for a long time. And I knew about the ringless voicemails for Florida and a couple of the other states and their regulations. And like I said, I had came up on a TCPA guideline or a guide, right? I got it from Don Costa. And it kind of just gave me a good idea of what to be scared about. I think that stuff's good to talk about, man, because I also heard that the fines had gone up. They are now 10,000 per hit.
Yeah,
right?
It's
It's pretty crazy. But I think it's good to talk about, man. We can't shy away from this kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I most definitely am one that am trying to be as compliant as possible. But I know that we are living in a gray area, right? That whole, the whole, hey, we're not buying anything, we're selling type of thing. I think that's down the toilet. I think that's not going to hold up in court, right? If it really comes down to it, and you need to battle it, that's not going to work, right?
Yeah, it strictly says, the wording is clear. The wording says economic gain.
And they did that for people that were saying that, because I used to be one of those people too. I used to say it all the time, well, I'm buying, I ain't selling. But I think this is good to talk about. So I'm glad that you brought that subject, or whoever did. I like that a lot.
So I kind of want to focus on what a lot of people have missed what Uncle Carl said, is that when you get to a certain level, you got to allocate funds to attorney fees. People are going to sue you for different reasons, and we're getting to that level too, where you need to just put some money aside for lawsuit money, because it's going to happen. Someone's going to get sued, whether it's somebody tripping down the stairs of your rental, or or somebody calling TCPA on you for incompliance. There's going to be something that somebody's going to sue you for that they're not going to like. So just be prepared once you get to a certain level that somebody's going to try and sue you for whatever reason. So just make sure you budget according to that. All right, Uncle Carl. And if anybody who hasn't been sued, don't be afraid of being sued. I've been sued before. Uncle Carl's being sued right now. It's not fun. Frank's been sued too. It's not fun, but it's not as daunting as it seems for people that haven't been sued. Right, Uncle Carl?
Yeah, I know I'm gonna get sued average once a year for some stupid shit, and it's part of it. I actually enjoy the lawsuits. Some point we'll open up and talk about them. One's sealed, and I'm not allowed to talk about it, but that turned out really good. But yeah, I enjoy it. I actually do sort of enjoy the lawsuits. They can be fun.
So don't be so afraid of lawsuits, because people that have been sued before. It's not like before I got sued, I was totally afraid of it, and I was with like everybody else in the room. But now that I've been sued before, I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna get served.
Right, so some folks have been asking on the chat, well, since I brought this up, how do I market? So I've been in this business for a while, way before this mass influx of texting and cold calling. And I used to direct mail way back when. And I, like everybody else, switched around and did some cold calling. I hated it. Switched to texting for a bit. I got a bunch of deals out of that, and wasn't quite comfortable with it at all. And because I'm hearing, I didn't do research on my own, and so I kind of went with what everyone else said and says, we're not buying, we're not selling, we're buying, and I chalked it up to that, and I texted away a bunch of deals. But lately, I went back again. I said, well, let me go back and do some more texting. It says, let me check this out. Since I'm running around in Texas here too, trying to break into the market here, I thought I'd explore Texas a little bit. And when I found that out about Texas, I said, well, wait a minute, let me dig a bit more into this. So, I mean, personally, I'm not going to say what I'll do because I don't want to influence anyone one way or another. This is a personal decision, you guys have to make. I think, I'm sorry, Uncle, what was the guy's name? Uncle Carl. Yeah. He says set aside some money there, and if that's something you can do, then and you feel okay with it, hey, then by all means. This business is very flexible, and lots could be done lots of ways, like you can see. So, but I would just say go with what your gut feeling tells you, what you feel comfortable with, what makes you sleep at night. That's all.
All right, thank you, Sheik. Go ahead, DeAndre.
I think it gets to the point where it's like you don't know the day you're going to get sued, right? You could be driving your car and hit another car, right? You get sued in a car accident. Like Daniel said, right? You can own property. Somebody trips on your sidewalk, they can sue you, right? So I think it's inevitable, especially when we make the decision. Hey, you know what? We're going to start a business, right? So it's the same thing. Even if you want to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start a lemonade stand right in front of my house that I own, right? You could get sued, selling lemonade, right? So there's no, I think it's not a matter of if you're going to get sued. I think it's a matter of when. It may not be 10 years, maybe 10 years out, maybe 20, maybe tomorrow, who knows? But when we go in business, I mean, that's what happens. I mean, even when you have a job, right? Somebody can sue you, and then next thing you know, they have a judgment against you, and then they garnish your wages, right? I personally know someone who doesn't own a business. They got sued. I don't even remember the reason why, but they're garnishing his wages, and they're taking $1,000 out of his paycheck a month. Doesn't own a business, or what? I don't know what he did. He didn't want to get into it, but so whether you have a business or not, you can get sued. I do kind of feel Uncle Carl with kind of allocating money for that. Because at some point it's going to happen, whether small or big. And also, that's what you just got to take the steps. Like, for example, if you're at a certain point of your company and you don't have an attorney on retainer, right? I think you should get one today. Find you a good attorney, get them on retainer, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is, even if it's $1, they'll allow it, get them on retainer. So in case you do get some mail or something that just doesn't sit right, you get with them, they'll, so I think we just have to take mitigated risk, but I think it's inevitable. Whether you text, whether you call, whether you send a postcard, whether you send that home, you can get sued for anything, in my opinion. So just be ready for it. But I wouldn't be doom and gloom every day. Like, man, I could get sued for this. I can get sued for that. So it's nuts. It's nuts out here. We're in the litigation world right now, so anybody can get sued for anything, even if you're dead broke. No money, no assets, no prop, no nothing. You still get sued, and they'll come after something. If they got to come to your house and take your TV off your wall, they'll do it. So that's just how I. Junior said you could get sued for being ugly. It's so funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done.
So we have attorney Al Nicoletti from Florida who does probate. So if anybody has any probate questions, he's in the room if you want to ask any questions. I kind of want to pivot. Corey Carroll, you had your hand up. I don't know if you want to ask your question, or we can jump back to Bob.
Yeah, Bob's still technically at a second part of the question. He just jumped in the tail end of the last discussion.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I
quite
was
all
just
right.
I was just wanting to share. I remember a time in real estate when bandit signs, man, like, you know, we were blanketing the city of Houston with bandit signs, and man, they passed a law, just kind of like just like I guess how it's going with the SMS. You know, bandit signs. It was competition there, but it wasn't a whole lot of competition. You know, and if you could keep some signs on the ground, you were going to make a lot of money. And I was one of those ones that I racked up. Man, I probably racked up about $13,000 in tickets, you know, from the city of Houston, just doing bandit signs. But, you know, but when they passed the law, I had probably 5,000 signs already in my little warehouse where I used to keep my signs that were already printed up, paid for. So they had to go out, you know, but wound up being able to I showed up eventually. At first I was ignoring them because I was sending all my calls to a call center and they would respond, you know, stop putting up the signs. So they showed up to one of my open houses one day. They posed as a buyer and that's how they finally got me. But I winded up showing up downtown, talked to the judge or whatever, and they dismissed, you know, quite a few of them. I think I might have wound up paying like maybe $1,000, $1,500 or something. But I initially had like $13,000 and something dollars worth of tickets. So, you know, but people today, I still see bandit signs out everywhere. So, you know, even though the city ordinance is still in place, people are still making money with bandit signs. So, like I say, like everyone else before me said, it's just a mitigated risk. So.
All right, thanks. Go ahead, Bob. You're up.
Unmute. Okay, very good. Yeah, so jumping back to the beginning of the call, when there was this the first guy that was on there asking what Hive Mind is about, and you know, you mentioned the community. Well, joined up Junior Lee, ran into him on Facebook. You know, and he said, "Hey man, when are you going to join me over here selling land at this Hive Mind thing?" And so I don't know, I let it go for about a month, and he hit me again and said, "Hey, come check it out." So I thought, all right, you know, I checked it out on the free Facebook group for a little bit, and then decided to join up. And I was watching a podcast with John and Mike, who's one of the very first members there, and he's just talking about his social media and using TikTok videos. I said, "Hey, I'd like to see some of these TikTok videos, you know, because to me, I think TikTok is for kids. I don't even think about it being for business." But he sent me some of his TikTok videos. He had Colorado in one of his TikTok videos. Turns out it's 20 minutes. He's got a piece of property 20 minutes down the road from me. And so I said, "Hey, I don't know, you want me to see if I can move that? You still sitting on it?" He said, "Absolutely, man. Take it. See what you can do with it." I mean, I just started this, so I'm thinking he doesn't need me. Well, let me tell you, he shot me the information. I posted it up on Facebook at 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night. And I had a deal on it by 9 o'clock the next morning. 10 o'clock the next morning, I was on the phone with a builder, and he was squirming and begging me to come off of it cheaper. And I kept on him, and I came down off of my asking price, but it turns out we all made $5,000. Mike, his partner, and myself, out of a JV on that deal. And the builder was ticked, but he had to have it. He wanted it cheaper, but it wasn't happening. So he was upset that he missed it back in November. But man, prices are going through the roof, and this was right next to a piece that he was building on, so he had to have it. But that's just a testimony. Yeah. So, and it's in title now. So that's just a testimony as to, you know, how just, you know, being in the right network, you know, being connected with people and You never know what's going to pop up. I mean, I was just watching this podcast and it was live and he responded. So very fortunate.
Awesome, man. That's great. That's great. Thanks, man. Thanks for the testimonial. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. Did you guys end up going like in the contract where you got the contract from the individual who's selling for one price and then you sold it to the builder for another price and you took the difference? Or was it just like a handshake deal?
So yeah, it was in contract. I think Mike and his partner had actually purchased the property. Yes, they had actually purchased the property. So I'm getting an assignment fee, and Mike has been doing this for a couple of years. So it was really educational to, he's sending me the contracts. He's telling me, what to sign, where to sign, how the deal's going down. Real personable, down to earth guy. And my only issues have been on the buyer's end, where he's like, well, how can I buy a property that you don't own? And he wants to use his title company, and they've only done an assignment fee, like, maybe a few times. So they weren't real familiar with it, but a small town, friendly, easy to work with. So right now we're going through the steps to get everything cleared up and going. But yeah, just having somebody with the experience there to walk me through it is huge, just huge, and put some money in my pocket too.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, man. That is dope. We want more stories like that. Okay. Go ahead, Lisa. All right, we got time for a few more questions. Who's got a next question?
I have a question.
Go ahead,
Hi,
Lisa.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, I
sorry,
can hear you.
it's muted. So I have a question in regards to self-closing. So I'm trying to do a small deal and I want to self-close on it. There's 2 sellers. So I always think about worst case scenario. I tend to be cynical sometimes. So I just worry about if there's 2 different signers, or 2 different sellers, the disbursement, would you just get a notary involved to go to the 2 different sellers to, give them the cashier's check, have them sign on the deed? But I just worry about like, what if scenario, like what if, you disperse one and then when the notary goes to the second seller, they don't want to sign or something? Or what's advised on the self-closing if there's 2 sellers?
This is actually fairly easy. You just get as part of your agreement with them and, just in discussion, but still get it in writing that they agree to the terms. If they're splitting it 50-50, 60-40, they need to tell you up front what those terms are. And then just the title company holds the cashier's check or payment, wherever the close is happening, that gets held until both parties have signed with their notaries.
Well,
you
what
could
if
probably
there's
pay
no-
like $100 to a title company somewheres that would be willing to hold the check, basically, that amount in escrow, and then cut the check, for that small, $100 fee or whatever.
So you can involve the title company even if you're not closing with them?
Depends on the state and the attorney involved and how friendly you are with them. I do know some that would willingly do that, and I know others that would laugh at me. So
Okay.
it's just that's not the option. That is just a option that I have seen done in the process.
Got it.
Post this question also in the HiveMind CRM group, and specifically tag John Alexander, or if I see the post, I will tag him into it.
John
He's been
Alexander?
doing self closings for 30 or so years. So
Okay, I'll do
he's
that.
got the experience there. Not to say that nobody else here does, but he's the repository.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
No problem. No problem. Who's got the next question?
I'm sorry, what exactly is the self-closing?
You close out a title company.
Okay.
How is that done? How is that self-closing done?
You essentially he has a book. Go look up John Alexander. He has a book covering this. But essentially, you get all the documents. So what a title company does is they verify title, who owns title, and all that stuff. So it's just filing all the paperwork yourself without using a title company, getting a notary, sign the deed, all that good stuff.
Creating the deed.
Yep.
Yep.
So the title company is just identifying it, but they're not handling the closing?
So title companies, they usually come with title insurance and they usually come with a fee. But if we're doing small little land deals, with what John Alexander does, he does a lot of his deals self-closing. So he doesn't use the title companies. He'll usually just self-close and close it out himself versus using a title company.
All right, cool. John Alexander, his book. Thanks.
Yep. Go ahead, Bob.
So how do you do the search? How do you do the insurance or the search to make sure that whoever's selling you the property actually has, that there's no other liens or claims to ownership on it? I mean, I understand when you're selling a piece of property for $10,000, $7,000 or $10,000, even $5,000, you don't want to pay $1,000 in the the closing costs on that. But isn't that risky?
You can do a soft title search if you have connections in the counties. In Texas, you can actually do a title search yourself. Fairly, yeah. There's somebody I know that teaches it. That you can do a self title search. So do the title search yourself. If you know what you're looking for, look for liens and all that good stuff. If you're talking to the owner of the property from the last recorded deed, you can check previous deed recordings. And then if it's pretty plain and simple, you can just do a self closing at that point. But there's no title. There's no title insurance or nothing. There's no title insurance or nothing. If you want title insurance, you have to go through a title company or title attorney.
Gotcha.
Based on your own due diligence, that risk.
Yeah. So the self-closing, like I said, there's a book. Go to the johnalexander.com. There's a book called Self-Closings or something that he covers how to self-close your property.
I've posted the link in the group chat.
Yep.
Yeah, I've self-closed practically all my property. Just as a caveat, when you're selling, you may want to sell on a special warranty deed because you don't want to warrant title that's prior to your ownership.
Good point. See, he knows more than I do.
I'm fairly certain like if you're going through John Alexander's course, I think it includes based on Texas law, and he's highly suggests check with attorneys in your state to get it modified according to your state's law. But he includes a special warranty deed, like Sheik was just suggesting, along with all of the rest of the documentation for doing the process.
Yeah, most counties have their county recorder stuff online, so you can do a title search fairly easy, especially for. I wouldn't attempt to do something for a huge deal. Maybe just do a quick title search to satisfy myself. But for small land deals, I'll do them all day long.
There you go.
Yeah, for a 6-figure or better deal, I'm gonna spend $150 with a local title company to pay them for the search.
Yep. Next, anybody else get a question?
I have another question.
Go ahead, Lisa.
In regards to, I have not gotten to the point where I market on Facebook Marketplace. And I think there's some videos on it. So I just want to know how I could find the videos on the Hive or through the YouTube, or just because there's so many videos. So I don't even know where to start.
I can't even think of a video, but you just post, we post a lot of our deals to Marketplace just to kind of see once we get them under contract. It's a really good place to sell deals. I think Bob, he sold his deal through Marketplace the next day. So it's a good place to sell their deals. You just market it as, because they don't have a land option, so you market it as a house. And I usually do 0 beds, 0 baths, and do whatever size acre it is and list it that way. But you'll know it's at a good price if you get a lot of messages, right, Bob?
Yeah, I put it up for $25K, and I had, 5 or 6 anyway the next morning. And the first one I called wanted it, and they wound up getting it off of me for $22,500. But I put it in discussions. So if you look in it, this is what are you selling? And it has, item, land, house, or vehicle. If you look over to the top left side, it'll say discussions, and that's where you can just list whatever you want in discussions. Now, some of those Facebook groups will cut you off because they'll say, well, it doesn't have a price on it, or it doesn't have a photo, or it does, it doesn't, meet some kind of requirement, or maybe you posted too often. So you don't want to overpost. And I haven't tried the 0 bed, 0 bath, but hey, I'll try that now and see how it goes.
So just so that I'm clear, you're posting in groups and on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, let's say
Are you trying to pull groups in the targeted area?
Well, yeah, there's a group for, underwater crochet. I mean, there's a group for anything and everything you can think of. So if you got, you're looking for groups that pertaining to land or wholesaling or, that county, that city, you can micro down to whatever you want. I look at groups that have, typically, if they've got less than 7,000 people in the group, I'll skip over it. But if I've already posted in all the larger groups, then I'll go ahead and start hitting the groups that have, maybe just 3,000 to 4,000 people in them. But yeah, I just started 3 or 4 groups of my own the other day. I just sat down. It says, you get on this Facebook, it says, hey, would you like to start a group, or whatever. So I started off market Tennessee, off market Texas, off market Georgia, off market Colorado, land. And then it might take a while to get up to 1,000 or 3,000 members, but it's out there. And so when people start searching for that, it'll pop up. Eventually it'll pop up in the other groups you might be interested in. So if somebody's looking for land in Tennessee, my group will pop up there, and then there's a point of contact. So then once I get a few members, I'll have questions up there. Like, in order to join this group, you must answer the following questions. Are you a realtor? Are you a wholesaler? Are you looking for land? Are you selling land? And then enter their email address. So then I'll have an answer. They're looking for land, or they want land, and I'll have an email address, and then I'll have a point of contact where I can follow through and let them know what I have, if what I have is even of an interest to them, or find out what they have to offer and see if it's an interest to me.
So marketplace gets you more organic traffic, whereas if you do group posting or create your own group, it's kind of your directive. I will say, for everybody that has a Facebook group, we can integrate it to Hive. That way you can ask questions. So questions you want to ask when they come in, you can integrate that straight into Hive. So if you're collecting email, phone number, what type of properties looking for, you can ask that on the Facebook group and input it directly to Hive. If anyone wants that connection, text the 210 number, 210-972-1842. Just text them that and they'll take care of you. For everybody that got a Facebook group.
I also linked the YouTube video on exit strategies. That, according to the search I did, it discusses the Facebook Marketplace as one of the strategies and goes through a little bit of how to do it.
Yep. Nicole asked a question. It says, for signable contracts, what does your contract look like? Is it simple one-page doc, or is it lengthy? A contract, and I think this is legal definitions of the contract, just has to be written down and signed by all parties with agreeable terms. That is literally the definition of a contract. You can do it on a napkin, toilet paper, a back sheet of paper, a receipt. It doesn't really matter what it is. Don't overcomplicate it. It could be a 1-page, or it could be a half a page. It could be a scratch piece of paper. Don't overcomplicate it. As long as it agrees what the parties are entailing for, what the parties are responsible for in that contract, that's a contract. Go ahead, Al.
Just before I hop off, I just wanted to say hello to everybody. And Daniel, this is awesome. Like, what y'all are doing here, this is like super cool. 35 people on. I mean, there's a lot of Zoom calls that don't even have like 10, so if you're all here and you're all learning, like that's awesome. I don't think I've ever been on one of the Hive is Live calls. I'm like always on the Clubhouse call, but I'm never really like on the Hive is Live call. So no question in particular. I got to hop off on a consult. I got to keep growing the probate side of the business, but there's weird and different deals out there. Don't pass them off. Don't be Don't think that you can't do it. There's always a way to do this stuff. I'm in Florida. Daniel can tell you the whole thing once I even hop off too. But like, just keep going with these deals, whether they're tricky or hard. Like I even just got off the call with somebody. I just told him, I was like, yeah, I do probate, but like, if you ever find like a quiet title situation, he's like, oh, you do those? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I think I got one right now. Like 3 attorneys have looked at and like, they don't know what's going on. And I'm like, well, I've seen that before too. So you never know what you're going to find. Just keep going with it. And that's all I want to say. I just want to see you, Daniel, too. I just want to see you. I see Sharonda, DeAndre's here, and Frank. Like, I'm so happy Frank's here, and everybody's doing awesome. So cool. So all I really wanted to say.
Hey, thanks, Al. Thanks for hopping in.
Love you. Lots and lots and lots.
If you need probate in Florida, talk to Al. He's the man. We'll do one more question. Who's got last question? Make it a good one.
Who do we talk to for probate in Texas?
Anthony Gaona.
Bet.
Yes, Anthony
What
Gaona.
what time are all those videos coming out?
Yeah. Anthony Gaona is your person in Texas if you need help with airship. You don't need an attorney in Texas. Anthony can literally help you out. He's done a few of them already that are probate deals without an attorney. There you go. One more question. That was an easy one.
I have a question. The
Go ahead, Loretta.
newbie. Hi.
Hey, Miss Loretta.
I just found a piece of property that the taxes haven't been paid since 2017.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do with it.
Do the people want to sell?
Oh, I haven't talked to them yet.
So
until you know if they want to buy it, nothing to do.
Yep. So what you can do is just call them. Hey, your name came out on a list. Are you interested in selling your property? If you are, what price do you want to sell it for? And just kind of see if they want to sell it for. If they kind of stonewall you there, did you know you haven't paid your taxes? Maybe drop that on them and see what they say.
Say that again. Repeat that. If
they stonewall you and don't answer the question, maybe drop that they haven't paid their taxes on that property.
Oh, okay. All right.
It depends if you want to.
Don't shove it down their throat. Just
no, I won't.
I'm
just
not wondering. I see there's, I've thrown out before. Just wondering. I see there's several years of taxes that haven't been paid.
Right.
Don't shove it up their butt. Quite.
No, I'm not that kind of person.
You can be. That's how I heard it. You can be nice about it too. Where you're like, did you know you have there's a tax bill on this? I don't know how much it is, but it looks like it's been a few years since you paid the taxes on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little less aggressive, but it's informational.
Yeah, I won't be aggressive at all, you guys. I will not, So I just wanted to throw that out just to see how to really handle it, since this is new for me, but I'm going in, all in. I'm all in.
Yeah, it's just I think who said this? Junior Octavio says build rapport, get it locked up, and sell it, make money. Makes it sound so easy.
I would. Can I just chime in?
Go ahead, Lisa.
And maybe also call the county and make sure that they're not ready to go to tax sale. And even you probably could still, you just want to know how much time you have, because if it goes to tax sale, you don't want to waste your time if it's already going to auction. Or you can as long as it's before the auction date.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good one right there. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, thank you.
Tax delinquents have been our biggest profit center. And skip tracing the person. So we look back through our profits, and 60% of our deals were property tax delinquent. And of those, 70% of the people were dead. Now, usually not that many people are dead, but those are the ones we made the most money off of. So one of the things to do too, I would say probably 5 to 10% of all the tax delinquents of people are deceased. And so if you put them in a skip trace program like Been Verified, very inexpensive, but it'll tell you if they're dead or alive. And we're so excited when we find out they're dead. We're like, yay, they're dead. Just kidding. But then we look in and we pull the obituary. You can pull the obituary from legacy.com, newspapers.com, or Google it, or you can just call the people listed as relatives. But the best deals so far have been property tax delinquents, where the people are dead and the house is vacant. That's the Uncle Carl trifecta. You can make a fortune if you are willing to dive deep into those deals. And where the tax bill is consistently not being paid for 3 or more years, and the more years it's consistently not paid, there's a problem for you to find and to solve.
So you pull the tax list directly from the county, Justice Coleman. That's where you pull it. It's always in the county.
So you said, what's the skip tracing? The skip tracing system you said you plug it into?
Well, we use two. There's a thing called BEN Verified, BEEN Verified. It's like $55 unlimited for like 3 months. It's not great, but it's pretty good. Then we use that to put them in the people to see if they're deceased and find relatives. You get on their social media, you can follow their Facebook page, a lot of good information. And we also use IDI Core. It's sort of similar to a TLO program. It's harder to get, but the numbers are more accurate and better information. But you can get a lot of the ways with just using BEN Verified to track people down.
Okay. Okay, good information. Thank you.
And with that, we'll end it.